Adam, Man United 1, Crystal Palace 3. We've lost the game. We've been battered, actually, to be honest. It was an absolute shit show. Embarrassment. The worst possible start to the season, considering what's been happening over the last week or so with lack of transfers. But away from transfers, those players on that pitch were a shambles today.
Absolute disgrace to a man, mate. Every single one of them. Not going to earmark anyone for any praise or anyone for extra criticism. We can get into minor details, mate, but at the end of the day, it's first game of the season at home. At home, the home record's gone, for one. We've got no home record now this season. We're 6 points behind Crystal Palace in the league table, mate. And I think, I mentioned it before the game, as I looked at Leeds scoring 7 goals already in 2 games this season. You know what I mean? Even West Brom, who got hammered today, looked like they got a little bit more. The whole problem is, mate, they look like they know what they're doing. They look like they know there's a plan, and they're going to follow it to a T because they believe in the manager. I just don't know where. I said it on the 7th minute, and everyone said it was being reactional, mate. Well, nothing changed from the 7th minute to the last minute. I'll start from the first minute, mate, when Lindelof moved Pogba out the way to claim a header and completely missed it.
Pogba gave away 3 fouls straight away.
Mate, when you know, when other managers look at us, and you have to think, let me turn that crap off a minute, it's doing me head in. When you have to think back to the end of last season and go, right, what did we do wrong at home in the last few games of last season? We dilly-dallied on the ball. Teams pressed us because they know we can't pass the ball. Absolutely nothing changed from the last game at home last season to this one. Crystal Palace have beat us back-to-back at Old Trafford now. It's getting beyond a joke, mate. Crystal Palace are nothing. And then people are going to come back and say, well, what about the match, Shannon? What about the fitness? They're ahead of us, this and that. We've had an interrupted pre-season. And guarantee City won't be like that tomorrow. And you know what else people are forgetting? Wolves weren't like that last weekend. They went out the week before us in the Europa League. You know what? They started a week before us. And they were sharp as a fox, mate. They had a game plan. They were missing key players. They went up against one of the sharpest and most organised teams of last season, away from home in Sheffield United. No change. 18-man squad. There's no excuse, mate. So you can take your fitness thing and you interrupted pre-season and you can throw that as far as you can, mate, because I'm not having it at all. It's an absolute disgrace how them players played today. The heads went down as soon as the goal went in. And then we didn't have a clue what we were doing. There was no plan. I mean, what can you say? All they can do so much. Substitutions weren't there when we wanted them to be, but
there's no reaction. There's no reaction. I mean, I was
from staff to players, mate.
They were in almost after every counter attack.
Every time,
isolating the 2 centre halves. That centre back partnership, Adam. I mean, we've said it millions of times before. It just does not work. It's got to be changed ASAP.
No, mate. Well, I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? We looked at the game against Aston Villa. And you know what I said? That was the first goal we've scored in open play since Jesse Lingard nicked the ball off Schmeichel, mate. And you know what? The assist came from one of their players. Yeah. That's how bad it is. Do you know what I mean, mate? That's how bad it is. We can't think outside of trying to play this nice football. This silky football gets found out very easily, mate. There has to be a plan B. Sometimes, you know what you got to do? You got to take a Rashford off. You got to take a Martial off, whoever it may be. Put some out-and-out wingers, people who are just going to cross the ball, and then something like that might happen. It changes the game. You know what? I'm going to see people now making excuses about Atkinson and everything regarding the penalty situation. It's a joke, mate. But Gary Neville nailed it, mate, when he said it doesn't really matter when you look at the game and how it's gone because
I don't even want to talk about it. Exactly.
No, mate. It's a shame that De Gea finally saves a penalty and then he gets it chalked off, but. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just the way the game was going today. Absolutely nothing was going right. Lindelof and Maguire, you just said it then. Farcical. Absolutely farcical. Lindelof, I didn't think there was a player who could have played worse than Maguire today, but Lindelof did.
Yeah.
He was a mess. You know what, mate? 3 weeks ago, the Swedish manager dropped him out of the team because he said he looked absolutely finished. He came out with that statement and said Lindelof looked wrecked. He looks done. What's going on compared to other clubs? I don't understand what's different with us. Why? Why is it so that our Crystal Palace a week ahead of us so much sharper? And it is only a week, mate. Let's not forget, we played, what was it, a month ago? Our last competitive.
Exactly. They haven't had that long off. I'm not buying this whole like.
It's a load of garbage, mate.
Crystal Palace have got a huge advantage because they've played last week. That should come into play slightly. Do you know what I mean? But what I saw today, that should not be happening for.
No, mate. Well, look, the proof is in the pudding, mate. What happened against Crystal Palace? Same time last year, mate, when we all had exactly the same start. Exactly the same game. You've been found out. You've got one tactic. You have to be able to adapt and change. And you know what? The players don't look like they want to. So if the players don't look like they want to, then who's to blame? You know what I mean? You have to look at Ollie and say, look, mate, seriously, you have to make use of your squad. You have to use them, even if they're not the wholesale names. If Pogba isn't doing it, which he wasn't today, he was an absolute horror show today, as well as everyone else. Like I said, I'm not going to dig anyone out. Everyone to a man was just miles off it today. But you have to be able to go, right, okay, James probably was shocking, but you know what? He has actually shown something in games for Wales so far this pre-season international break where, you know what, if Igalo was there, James maybe could have put a cross into the box for a centre forward who wants to just get in there and hasn't got the skills of Martial, but he just wants to be in the box and actually do something like a traditional centre forward. James would play better with that. You have to think differently. The one time we put a cross in the box, they were a mess and we scored a goal. You know what, mate? It's not rocket science sometimes, but this style of football, not one player until Greenwood came on that pitch went at a man. Didn't even try to get past a man. Sometimes you've got to, like Ferguson always said, do something different. Play a 40-yard pass. Try and take a couple of men on. Commit someone. Change something. Change the shape of the game. Because sometimes the players have to take it upon themselves to do something, to actually make something happen. I thought it might have done it when we made the penalty save, and then that just got completely blown out.
We could get out of jail here. You're thinking maybe.
No plan, mate. No plan.
No plan. I mean, after the week it's been, Adam, and this just tops it off even worse. And look, Arsenal are probably going to go on to beat West Ham. Let's not kid ourselves. We're taking the pack 6 points down from a lot of teams. 2 wins for Everton, going to be probably 2 wins for Arsenal. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Liverpool and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it has been that bad. Can you see any movement happening in terms of incomings at United? Do you think this will act as a catalyst for that? I did say if it goes wrong tonight, it's not because of the signings. It's not. It'll be because of them players. In this manner, I didn't envisage us losing in this manner. Do you think that this could actually spill over and we'll see some change?
You know what, mate? It's embarrassing to say it, but you know what? It probably will. And that's a disgrace for this football club, because if we're going out knee-jerk reaction signing now, then that just shows where we are. If we go out and sign players now because of this, then that, for me, that depresses me even more than not buying any players now, mate. It really does, because it just shows you how poorly this club is being run and the shambles that we are actually in. If we're having to wait on what other clubs are doing, I'm not having this crap about we're going to struggle to buy Sancho now in the 2-week spell. I've just seen Liverpool, who've got no money, spend over 60 million in 4 days, and the deals went like that.
I honestly think forget Sancho, mate. I don't think he's coming. I don't even want to spend 109 million. But the surgery that we actually need, which I was leaning more towards anyway, I've said it a lot of times this year. I would love Sancho to come. Sorry, this transfer window. I've said it many times, but I'm so worried about this squad depth, and we can't. I'd rather spend 70 million on a proper centre half as it stands, because that we can't go any further with that, Adam. Can't.
Wait, we were saying it, weren't we? We were saying, look, you've got to go away from last season and try and learn from your mistakes. Minute 1, it just went straight back, mate. And that was I was against it, mate. I thought, you know what? Let's strengthen this forward line. Let's try and get cover for this forward line. And then I literally watched 15 minutes. I watched De Gea and Lindelof playing absolute clowns at the back. You know what? I'm looking at Henderson on the bench. I'm going, change it now, because we need something behind there. You can change Lindelof. You can change De Gea. You know what? As a manager, Ollie has to realise this now. He's the one who's going to be going. Do you know what I mean? He's the one who's going to be off in December or whenever it is. It's none of these players.
He's got to do it
Get them out of the team.
He's got to do it to save himself. He's got to
He has to look after himself now. He has to go in that change room and say, look, next week, lads, you're out, you're out, you're out. You're not playing. That wasn't good enough for Manchester United. You've got Ferguson sat in the stands there tonight, and he's looking at that and going, whoa, what has happened there?
And is absolutely tearing us a new one.
Yeah, no excuse. I'm not digging any one player out. I'm digging the whole team, staff, coaching, management. Every single one of them was an absolute disgrace today in everything that they did. And I'm not even listening to any press conferences or anything later because I know what's going to be said.
Yeah,
I know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be the same old stuff. Ole needs to help himself now, and he needs to do it, even if he has to change Lindelof and Maguire. And bring 2 others in who are in the squad. It does not matter. You don't get any worse than 3 goals at home to Palace, who can't hit. You know what? They took them 2 shots on a penalty to get the goal in the net, mate. Exactly. And we're shooting 3. That's really it. 6 points behind Palace, 6 points behind Everton. And, mate, I can't. Oh, yeah. Let's not even talk about Liverpool and City because they're gone.
I know.
We had a chance, mate. We had a chance to claw the gap back with the signings and make a statement. And they've absolutely blew it, mate, because now it all looks like it's desperation and the excuses are coming, mate. I'm telling you, I'm just waiting for Excuse United to show up, mate.
Yeah. It does. Listen, this is the bit where I'd normally ask you for a man of the match, but obviously we won't do that. So, listen, bro, I'll catch up with you later.
No worries, mate. See you later.
All right.